Your Netflix password stopped working, my sister called, furious. I'd been paying for 9 years, $2,160 total. I said, Yeah, I canceled it, she screamed. The kids' shows. I replied, Get a job. She threatened to tell Mom. I said Mom's on the same plan. Then I hung up. 47 missed calls in an hour. My phone lit up at 6:03 a.m. while I was pulling on my uniform in the dim kitchen light. Unknown caller. Then it switched to my sister's name, Kara. I answered because I'm stupidly optimistic before coffee. What did you do? She screamed. Before I could even say hello, I held the phone away from my ear and stared at the clock like it could explain this. Kara, it's 6 in the morning. My Netflix password stopped working, she said, like I'd shut off her oxygen. The kids are crying. Fix it, now. I looked at the sticky note on my fridge that had the login written in my own handwriting from years ago. I'd written it back when I thought temporary meant something. Yeah, I said. I canceled it. There was a hard silence, then a noise like she'd inhaled to start a fire. You what? I canceled it, I repeated. You've been paying for that, she yelled, like I'd robbed myself. Henry, what is wrong with you? I didn't raise my voice. I leaned my hip against the counter and felt my hands go cold anyway. I've been paying for 9 years, I said. That's what's wrong with me. Don't do this, she snapped. The kids' shows. They watch it every day. I could hear it behind her. A cartoon voice. A child whining. Kara doing the thing where she weaponizes a room full of noise and calls it an emergency. I'm not paying for your kids' cartoons anymore, I said. Her tone flipped from rage to sweet fast, the way it always did when she was about to call me selfish. So you're punishing them. I'm not punishing them, I said. I'm stopping. Henry, she started, and then she went sharp again. Get it back, put it back. You can't just... I can. I said. She made this offended gasp like I'd slapped her. Mom is going to hear about this. I exhaled through my nose and glanced at my work boots by the door. Mom's on the same plan, I said. Another silence. This one was different. This one was her brain crashing into a wall. What? Mom, I said, calm, has her profile on my account, the one I pay for. You are such a... Kara, I cut in. Get a job. Her scream was immediate, raw. I have a job. No, I said. You have a guy you live with and a lot of opinions. She started talking over me, fast, loud, listing things like a lawyer who didn't pass the bar. Do you know how expensive things are? Do you know what daycare costs? Do you know? I know what my bank statement looks like, I said. She went quiet for half a second and then hit me with her favorite line, the one she uses like it's a magic spell. Your family. My mouth went dry. I didn't scream. I said into the phone. I hung up. The second I ended the call, my screen started lighting up again. Kara, Kara, Kara. Then, Mom. Then, Kara. Then, unknown. I watched the missed calls stack like a counter at a casino. By 7:05 a.m., I had 47 missed calls, and I still went to work. I'm Henry. I'm 34. I live in Toledo, Ohio, in a one-bedroom that smells like stale coffee and the cheap detergent I buy in bulk. I'm a security guard at a distribution warehouse on night shift. It's not glamorous. It's a lot of walking, watching monitors, writing incident reports that nobody reads, and being the guy people glare at because you're the closest thing to authority they see. It pays steady. Steady is my love language. Kara is 31. She has 2 kids, Jace and Lily, 6 and 4. Different dads. Same story. She calls them my babies like it's a shield that blocks consequences. Mom is Denise. She's 58. She works part-time at a church office and full-time at Gilt. The Netflix thing started in 2017. Back then, Kara had just moved out of Mom's place after one of their blow-ups. She called me crying about how she just needed something normal for Jace because kids need routine. I remember exactly where I was. I was sitting in my car in the Walmart parking lot eating a gas station sandwich between shifts. Can you just put it on your card? She asked. I'll pay you back. I did it because I was tired and she sounded scared and I wanted to be the brother who fixes things. The first month was $9.99. Then it went up, then it went up again. Plans changed. Just bump it to the one with more screens, Kara said once, because Mom wants to watch too. That was the pattern. Something small becomes shared, then becomes expected. Incident 1 was 2019. Kara texted me. Kara, 2:14 p.m. Netflix is down. Me, it's not down. It says too many devices. Kara, well, fix it. Jace is sick. I checked my account. 4 devices streaming. I called Mom. Henry, honey, she said, like I was a customer. Kara just needs help right now. It's my account, I said, and you're doing so well, she replied. You can afford it. That sentence sat in my stomach like wet cement. Incident 2 was 2021. I was trying to save for a used car that didn't sound like it was dying every time it started. Kara asked for the password again because it logged out. I said, Kara, can you Venmo me $15 a month? Just something. She laughed, actually laughed, and said, oh my God, it's $15. Then Mom texted me later, 8:32 p.m. Don't nickel and dime your sister. Family helps. It wasn't about $15. It was about the fact that in our family, my money is considered community property if Kara is loud enough. Incident 3 was last summer. I was at Mom's house for Sunday dinner. Kara was there with the kids. The TV was on. I watched Kara scroll Netflix like she owned stock in it. Jace asked, Uncle Henry, can you put on the dinosaur one? I said, sure. Kara didn't even look at me. She just said, the kid's profile is the one with the blue icon. The kid's profile. On my account. Then Lily dropped her sippy cup and started crying, and Kara didn't comfort her. She looked at me and said, can you grab paper towels? I got them because that's what I do. I swallow it. I smooth it. I keep things easy. I thought it was temporary. It wasn't. My job taught me something weird. People escalate when there's no boundary, not because they're evil, because the system trains them. At work, if you let someone tailgate through a secure door once, they do it forever. They get offended the day you finally stop them. At home, it was the same door. Different building, my own bank statements were the receipts I couldn't ignore anymore. Every month, Netflix. Calm, I finally added it up one night on break, sitting under fluorescent lights, sipping burnt vending machine coffee while cameras watched an empty hallway. $19.99 a month. 9 years. My brain did the math like it was counting steps on patrol. 19.99 x 12 equals 239.88 a year. 239.88 x 9 equals 2,158.92. I rounded because it made me angrier. $2,160. I thought about what $2,160 would have done for me. A real emergency fund. A better set of tires. A month where I didn't have to stare at my balance like it might bite me. And what did it do for Kara? It bought her the illusion that other people will always cover the boring parts of her life. The kids weren't the problem. The kids were just the line she used. The real problem was that I'd trained everyone to believe I'd never say no. And my nephew had already started learning the same thing I learned as a kid. If you want peace, don't ask for too much. I saw it the last time I was at Kara's place. Jace asked her. Mom, can we get pizza? Kara snapped. Not now. Jace looked at me immediately. Not at her. At me. Like I was the backup parent. Like I was the wallet. He wasn't being manipulative. He was being a kid learning where the yes lives. That's when something in my chest went tight, because I didn't want him learning that yes is always someone else's sacrifice. I didn't want Lily growing up thinking it's normal to scream at people until they pay your bills. And I didn't want to keep being the guy who funds a lifestyle I don't even get invited into unless someone needs something. So I stopped telling myself it was small. I stopped calling it just Netflix. I called it what it was, a boundary I never set. The day I canceled it, I did it like I do everything that matters. Quiet, methodical, documented. At 5:41 a.m., I opened the Netflix app. I went to Account. I took screenshots of the plan details, the payment method, the list of devices signed in. There were devices I didn't recognize. A smart TV in Kara's living room, sure. Mom's iPad, sure. But also a PlayStation, a Roku, and a phone labeled Kara New. I didn't even ask. I just changed the password first. Then I canceled. The email hit my inbox at 5:43 a.m. We're sorry to see you go, Henry. Cancellation effective February 27th. Next billing date, none. I forwarded it to myself again because I've learned the hard way that receipts disappear when other people start rewriting history. By 6:03 a.m., Kara called. Furious. By 7:05 a.m., 47 missed calls. At 7:12 a.m., the texts started. Kara, answer me. Kara, the kids are upset. Kara, you can't do this to them. Kara, Mom is crying. Kara, call me now or I swear. I didn't respond. At 7:28 a.m., Mom called. I let it go to voicemail because my hands were shaking and I didn't trust myself to keep my tone steady if she started with the soft voice. Her voicemail came in 3 minutes later. Henry, honey, I don't know what's going on, but Kara says you shut off the Netflix. The kids are confused. Can you please just turn it back on? We don't need drama. Drama. That word always means your boundary is inconvenient. Then Kara switched tactics. Wave 1 was private pressure. She called from a different number. I didn't answer. She texted me a screenshot of Jace crying. I stared at it until my jaw hurt. Under the photo, she wrote, Kara, this is on you. My body reacted anyway. Dry mouth, tight throat. That old reflex to fix the room. Then I remembered something. In security, you don't open a locked door just because someone bangs on it and yells they're cold. You verify. You follow policy. You don't let panic be the credential. So I opened a folder on my phone and named it Netflix. Inside, I saved everything. Screenshots of her texts, the voicemail audio, the cancellation email. Then I opened my banking app and pulled up the transaction list. I screenshotted every single monthly charge. It was a neat little line of proof, stretching back years like a timeline of me being quiet. Wave 2 came around lunch. That's when Kara tried practical harm. She started telling people I stole from her. I found out because my cousin Tyler texted me, TYIR, yo why Kara saying you shut off the kids' TV and she paid you. Paid me. I actually laughed just once because it was so bold. I texted back, me. She never paid me. I have 9 years of bank charges. Then Mom sent a group text. Of course she did. Our family lives for group texts because it lets them control the narrative in front of an audience. The chat was called Family, like a threat. Mom, Henry, please don't do this. Kara is stressed. The kids are upset. Just turn it back on and we can talk later. Kara added immediately. Kara, he's being petty. He knows I'm struggling. My aunt chimed in with the classic, Aunt Linda, it's not worth fighting over. That's what people say when the cost isn't coming out of their pocket. My hands went cold again. My brain counted. 4 messages in under a minute. They'd already decided the story. I'm the bad guy, Kara is the victim, and the kids are the weapon. I typed 1 sentence. No paragraphs, no pleading, just facts. Me. I paid $19.99/month since 2017. $2,160 total. I canceled it today. Then I attached screenshots. Not all of them, just enough to end the debate. The chat went quiet for a full 60 seconds, which in family time is an earthquake. Then Kara exploded. Kara, wow, you're really doing this. You want a medal? Mom tried to regain control. Mom, Henry, honey, money isn't everything. It's funny how money is never everything when someone else is paying. I replied, me. Address, room number, answer. Who is paying for it starting tomorrow? I watched the typing bubbles appear and disappear. Kara typed, deleted, typed again. Then she wrote, Kara, stop interrogating me like a cop. I didn't respond to that. Instead, I asked the other concrete question that matters. Me. Do you want me to transfer Mom's profile to her own account before it shuts off? Because that's the thing. I wasn't trying to punish anyone. I wasn't trying to scorch the earth. I was trying to exit the system cleanly. Mom didn't answer that. Kara answered for her. Kara, don't you dare kick Mom off too. That told me everything. It wasn't about the kids. It wasn't about entertainment. It was about control and access. At 3:17 p.m., Kara showed up at my apartment. I know the time because I checked my security cam. Again, receipts. She didn't knock like a normal person. She pounded like the door owed her money. "Henry!" she yelled. "Open up!" I stood on the other side of the door in my socks, breathing slow, my pulse thudding in my ears. "Kara!" I called through the door. "Go home. I'm not leaving until you fix it." My neighbor across the hall cracked her door open an inch. I saw her eye through the gap. Kara noticed and raised her voice because witnesses make her braver. "He's taking from my kids!" she shouted. I opened my phone and hit record. Not because I wanted drama, because I wanted a clean record of what happened at my door. "Kara," I said, still through the door, "you're on camera. Leave!" "You think you can scare me," she snapped. "I'll tell Mom you're recording me." "I already sent the receipts," I said. Then she said the cruel, reasonable line, the one that's supposed to make me feel like a monster for having limits. "Wow," she scoffed. "So you're really going to let two kids suffer because you're cheap?" My throat tightened. My brain did the count again. 9 years, $2,160. Hundreds of times I swallowed my own needs for the sake of peace. I didn't scream. I said, "This ends today." She kicked my doormat. Then she left. And that's when I stopped arguing and started documenting. The breaking point wasn't the pounding. It wasn't the screaming. It was the fact that Kara kept escalating and Mom kept trying to smooth it over like smoothing was more important than reality. At 8:09 p.m., I got a call from Mom again. I answered this time because I wanted it on record and because part of me still hoped she'd say something like, "You're right, this got out of hand." "Henry," she said, immediately tired, immediately disappointed. "Why are you doing this?" I stayed calm. "Because I've paid for 9 years," I said. "And I'm done." She did the sigh. Kara's embarrassed. "That's not my problem," I said. "You're punishing the children," Mom said softly like a judge. I felt my hands go cold again, even sitting on my couch. "I'm not punishing them," I said. "I'm refusing to fund Kara. She doesn't have extra money," Mom pressed. "You know she's trying." "Mom," I said, "she found time to call me 47 times in an hour." Mom didn't laugh. She didn't deny it. She said she was upset. Then Mom tried the thing she always tries when the facts are inconvenient. She tried to rewrite the timeline. "Well," she said, "you offered. You put her on it, I put her on it in 2017, I said. "When she said she'd pay me back." "And you didn't ask again," Mom replied quickly, like that settled it. There it was. "If you don't fight, you consent forever." I let the silence stretch long enough that she had to sit in it. Then I said, "Do you think it's normal that you and Kara feel entitled to a subscription I pay for?" Mom's voice sharpened. "Henry, don't talk to me like I'm—" "Like you're what?" I asked. "Like you're part of the problem?" She went quiet, and then she said the line that finally broke whatever string was still holding me in the old role. "After everything we've done for you." I stared at my wall. Beige. Paint. Cheap blinds. My life, paid for by me. "What have you done for me that I'm supposed to repay with a monthly bill forever?" I asked. Her breath caught. "You're being cruel," she said. "No," I replied. "I'm being clear." She started talking faster, emotional, pulling in the kids again. "Jace doesn't understand," she said. "Lily keeps asking why Uncle Henry doesn't love them anymore." My stomach dropped, not because I believed it, but because I knew Kara was feeding her that script. "That's a lie," I said. Mom bristled. "Don't call your sister." "I'm calling the lie a lie," I cut in. "Mom, listen to me. I opened the folder on my phone while I talked, like a shield. Kara is using the kids to pressure me," I said, "and you're helping her." Mom went quiet again, which told me I'd hit the truth. Then she tried the last move. "Fine," she said tight. "If you're going to act like this, don't expect anyone to support you when you need help." I didn't flinch. I didn't beg. Because here's what I knew. I was already not being supported. I was being used. I said, "I don't need support that comes with a subscription fee," she snapped. "So that's it? You're cutting us off?" "No," I said. "I'm cutting off access to my accounts." Then I did the irreversible step while she was still on the line. I opened my Netflix account again. I clicked sign out of all devices. One tap. I changed the password again, then I removed every profile except mine. I didn't do it dramatically. I didn't announce it like a threat. I just did it. Mom was still talking, trying to pull me back into the old script, and I interrupted her with one sentence. "I'm sending you the steps to make your own account," I said. "What?" she said, confused. "I'm sending you the link," I repeated. "You can have your own plan. Kara can have her own plan. I'm done." I hung up. Then I sent a final message to the family group chat. One sentence, no arguing, no debate, no invitations for negotiation. Effective today, I'm no longer paying for any streaming subscriptions for anyone else. Kara responded instantly. "Kara, you are a monster." Mom typed, "MOM. This is heartbreaking." I didn't respond, because the point of a boundary isn't to convince people it's fair. The point is that it exists even when they hate it. At 9:22 p.m., Kara called again. I declined. At 9:23 p.m., she called again. Declined. At 9:24 p.m., she left a voicemail that was mostly screaming and the sound of something being thrown. At 9:40 p.m., she texted me, "Kara, fine. Don't come around my kids anymore." I stared at that message until my eyes burned. Then I screenshotted it and saved it in the folder. Because that was the new game. She'd threaten access to the kids like it was her property. I didn't take the bait. I replied with the calmest sentence I've ever typed. "Me. I'm available to see the kids. I'm not available to be financially threatened." And then I blocked her number for the night. Not forever. Not as revenge. As a lock on a door she kept trying to break. My hands stopped shaking about 10 minutes later. That's how I knew I'd done the right thing. My body finally believed me. The next morning, my apartment was quiet. No buzzing phone, no emergency cartoon crisis. I made coffee and drank it standing by the window like a man who just survived a storm he didn't know he was allowed to leave. At 11:16 a.m., Mom texted me privately, "Mom, I made an account. Your father helped me. Kara is still upset." I stared at it for a long time. Not because I didn't know what to say, because I knew exactly what to say, and the old me would have avoided it. I wrote back, "Me, good. I'm glad you have your own. I'm not discussing my decision." She didn't like that. She replied, "Mom, you're being cold." I answered, "I'm being consistent." 3 days later, I saw Kara at Mom's house when I stopped by to drop off a bag of groceries for Dad. I didn't announce it. I didn't want a scene. Kara was in the living room, sitting like a queen on Mom's couch, scrolling her phone with that angry stillness. Jace ran over when he saw me. "Uncle Henry," he yelled, and my chest did that painful soft thing, because kids don't carry the same grudges adults do unless adults teach them. I knelt down. "Hey, buddy," he whispered, "Mom said you turned off our shows." I looked him in the eyes and kept my voice gentle. "I stopped paying for something," I said. "But you're okay. You have your mom." He frowned, confused, then said the most honest thing in the world. "Can we still play cars?" "Yeah," I said. "We can play cars." Kara watched from the couch like a hawk. When Jace ran off, she finally spoke. "You feel good?" she asked, voice low. "You win?" I kept my tone level. "This isn't a game," I said. "It's my money," she smirked. "So you're just done helping?" "I'm done being treated like an ATM," I replied. She stood up fast, like she wanted the room to feel her anger. "You're going to regret this," she said. "Mom's not going to pick you over me." I looked at Mom, who was in the kitchen pretending to be very interested in a dish towel. I didn't ask her to defend me. I didn't need her to. I said, "This isn't about being picked." Kara rolled her eyes. "Whatever. Congratulations, Henry. Hope the extra $20 makes you happy." I could have listed the total again. I could have argued. Instead, I just said, "It's not about $20. It's about respect." She snorted, grabbed her purse, and stormed out, making sure the door slammed hard enough to announce her suffering. The kids stayed. That mattered. Later that night, Mom called. Her voice was quieter. "Your sister says you embarrassed her," she said. "I told the truth," I replied. Mom hesitated, and then she said something I didn't expect. "She shouldn't have yelled at you," Mom admitted, like it physically hurt to say. I didn't celebrate it. I didn't push. I just said, "I'm not doing it anymore." Silence. Then Mom asked, "So, this is permanent?" I took a breath. "Yes," I said. "Permanent A week after that, Kara tried one last tactic. She dropped off a cheap apology in the form of a photo of the kids holding a sign that said, "We miss you. No sorry, no accountability. Just pressure with crayons." I stared at it, felt the pull, then did the adult thing Kara keeps refusing to do. I texted her one sentence. "I love the kids. I won't be guilted into paying your bills." Then I put my phone face down and went back to my life. Because that's what boundaries are. Not a speech, not a fight. A door that stays closed. I'm still Henry. I still work night shift. I still count steps and cameras and time. But now I also count something else. How many times I choose myself without apologizing. Moral: love doesn't require a subscription, and family isn't entitled to your wallet. My boundary is simple, and it's staying in place. I'm not available for that.